Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and that was solo number 12 from Anthony Cirone's Portraits in Rhythm. This is a deceptively difficult solo because of all these triplet figures here, so we'll be talking a lot about that. Also, the tempo is one of these nooks and crannies tempos where it's hard to do a closed roll well here, so I'll show you my strategies for that as well. So in the beginning here, we're a little bit louder than forte, I would say, maybe between forte and fortissimo, just because I want to make more of a contrast when we get to the fourth bar here. Also, I have the metronome on eighth notes because we have mixed meters here for the first time, a lot of them in this book. So 2/4, then the 3/8, 2/8, it's all over the place really, but all subdivided by eighth notes. So put your metronome on eighth notes. Here I have it, the quarter note on 168, which equals the eighth note. Doesn't really matter how you do it as long as those eighth notes are being played and they sound even on the metronome. Now the hardest part of this solo are the triplets, like I said earlier. So the first thing you want to do is just practice that. And you can count it: triplet, 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 triplet. So if we're hearing these eighth notes, that's a polyrhythm, 2 against 3. Okay, and then everything revolves around that. So when we get to these measures, I'll do line by line as I usually do, but when we get to these measures, we're going to talk about that. So here's the first line for you, and that first triplet figure happens in the third bar. I pulse all that with my right hand, and then I do that 16th note with my left hand. 1, 2. So I just wanted to show you that first. Now I'll play the whole line. 1, 2. And of course, I repeated it to the second line. That's the theme of this whole piece, and it does come back. So I am going to the edge. I do that. Some of you might not want to. You don't have to, but I just like that. Gives if you have a good drum like these Pearl Philharmonics, they're extremely sensitive on the edge, so you can use that. If the drum's not very good, the edge will sound terrible, like a tom. So then you don't want to do that. You want to stay closer to the center. Okay, even for the pianissimo and piano dynamics. So line 2, more of the same. We'll play this for you. 1, 2. Now you're noticing what's on the screen here. This is the new version of the book, and although it does have some typos, you'll see one in a little while, it does have his phrasings, which I really like. So I'm putting a slight emphasis at the beginning of each phrasing. And I've always taught it like that because, you can't just be like very stiff like this. That's not the way you want to do it. It's unmusical. You want to basically do it like you're a conductor. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, like that. So you're emphasizing the beginning of each phrasing. And now the third bar gets really loud, fortissimo, and be really careful of these quarter note triplets to get softer and softer, but don't change your tempo. 1, 2. So I must treat that as a diminuendo, the last 4 bars of that. So let's talk real quick about roll strategies. This is one of those bars. So for this particular etude, my roll strategy is basically triplets. So I'm basing that off of a 16th note triplet. That's my underlying pulse, and I'm doing the buzzes based on that. That works for pretty much most of the solo until at the end you get to some of these short rolls, and then I'm putting making those 30-second notes, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So line 4, just make sure you count. This is a pretty simple line. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, and then we go on to line 5. Same thing with the phrasing here. 1, 2. And that figure, that accent figure is over the bar line, continues into line 6. 1, 2. So these two lines need to be treated together if you're going to do it line by line when you teach it. So this figure at 7, let's go over that. So you're going to pulse these quarter note triplets with your right hand, and then you're going to bring in that left hand for the 16ths. And I like to play those 16ths very tight. 1, 2. All right, and just relax. Don't play too loud there, but, you know, it almost swings. It's got kind of a jazz feel to it. So now we'll play lines 6 and 7 for you. 1, 2. And this is, again, an over the bar line, metrically changing kind of thing. So just get softer in the second bar of line 8 and keep getting softer. So pace yourself. All right. So we'll play from one more time, line 7 into line 8. Play the entirety of line 8. 1, 2. And then I'm going to do those triplets at the end with one hand. Now this is one of those spots where I may, depending on if it's a little bit slower or a little bit faster, do 30-second note rolls there. You hear that underlying 30-second note. Okay, it's possible to do that. All right, and then we're in line 9. 1, 2, 3. Now those last two bars, there is a typo in the newest version, the Alfred online version. The second bar from the end, that should be a quarter note, not an eighth note. There's always typos in these versions. The first version had a bunch of them. Then the study guide cleaned that up a bit. And then this has the phrasing. So you got to decide. I have all 3 books because I go between them. But there are a few typos. I'll be pointing them out as we do the series. So that line 9 there, that roll that goes from 3/8 to 2/4, that's one spot as you're getting louder. You might want to increase your notage under the roll. 1, 2, 3. That's just something you could do to create more energy. So I'll play this for you without you hearing the click track, although I'll be using it. So we'll see you next time.